Hey guys, this is editorial analysis for 12th October 2016. Let's go to the first one. This is from Hindu. It is on that entire issue of the auction of spectrum, which we did in detail in yesterday's video. So I'm not going to elaborate on it again. I'm just going to add certain points that this author he has pointed out, and it was a massive failure. The auction was a massive failure. More than about half of the spectrum remained unsold because the government had kept the prices very high. So the author here says that both the government and telecommunication companies, they are blaming each other for this massive failure. Government is saying that telcos are highly indebted, that's why they are not being able to buy the spectrum, and telcos are saying that the reserve price is too high. So the problem here is that in many areas, networks that should operate at 65% of their capacity are working at 95% of their capacity due to very high congestion, and this leads to poor services in data and voice. So that is on the auction of spectrum. Now let's move on to the second editorial. This is from Indian Express. This is on that bill of on HIV and AIDS that has been approved by the cabinet. So we have already done it in a little bit of detail in one of the previous videos, but still I'm going to do this new editorial again in detail. So the author here, he points out certain points of significance in this bill, and he points out 8 features that he notices are very important, and I'm just going to read out those 8 points of significance in this new HIV and AIDS bill. First of all, the author says that the earlier draft of the bill had said that it will provide ART, antiretroviral therapy, to PLHIV, persons living with HIV. The earlier draft had said that it will provide ART to PLHIV as far as possible in quotes. But now the provision says that ART will be provided as needed. Also, we have a good manufacturing base for generic ART drugs in India. We are already supplying it to developing countries. So it shouldn't be that hard for our own people. The second point is that government has removed the protection that the earlier draft gave. The earlier draft had given protection to the LGBTI community. The government has removed this protection, LGBTI, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transsexual and intersex community. Now, government has removed the special protection given to them, but it is not known yet what is the alternative that cabinet is proposing on it. So we'll find it out later. The third point is that the bill protects the rights of persons living with HIV, PLHIV, and the number about 21 lakhs in India. It provides for punishment to those who discriminate against PLHIV. Fourthly, for the first time, it has addressed the problem of discrimination against PLHIV in private sector. Constitution only provides for actions against discrimination in public sector. Fifthly, PLHIV get discriminated against in terms of education, employment, health, renting, insurance, etc. The bill provides that a PLHIV under 18 has the right to reside in a shared household. A person with HIV under the age of 18, he has the right to reside in a shared household. Sixthly, the bill promises confidentiality of HIV status. Entities disclosing this status will be liable under the bill. Seventhly, if PLHIV, if they are denied medical services, they can approach an appropriate authority in the healthcare facility only and demand a redressal. If that also fails, they can approach a local ombudsman who is mandated to give directions to the health facility to provide the required treatment in a time-bound manner. And eighthly, the last point, the bill provides for a safe working environment for healthcare workers also, like they should be provided with safety measures like gloves, etc., so they do not hesitate to provide treatment. Let's go to the third editorial. This is from the Hindu Business Line, and this is another one of those editorials on GST. And this one is a very technical sounding one, so I'm just going to put it forth in my own language. It basically says that in the past there was no heavy industrialization in India coming out from private sector. And why did this happen? This happened because the government used to provide a lots of incentives like tax incentives, etc., to medium and small scale industries on the basis of assumption that they require less capital to be set up. Small scale industries, they require less capital to be set up, and they provide more employment to people. But there was a criticism of these incentives. It said that these incentives, it fragmented the manufacturing sector, and people wouldn't set up large industries because they of course wanted to corner the benefits that were coming out from the government incentives. However, there's hardly any evidence of the fact that incentives were helping the growth of small scale industries. Still, the new GST Act, it provides for the protection of small scale industries. It provides that there will be no GST up to an annual threshold limit of rupees 20 lakhs turnover. But how is this new provision of incentives for small scale industry in GST, how is it avoiding criticism? What is it doing about it? So this article, it defends the incentives given by GST. It says that from now on, every manufacturing unit will have to have a GSTN number. And what this GST has done is that it has integrated the entire value chain from raw materials to retail to the purpose of taxation. So from now on, because the system is so integrated, every manufacturing unit will be eligible for credits for input goods, input services, and imported capital goods. That means that every time they make an input, every time a manufacturing unit makes an input to their manufacturing process, so the higher the input is, the more taxation credits they will get from the tax department. So if they try to remain below the threshold and do not report higher incomes, it will affect them only badly because their credits will get blocked. Also, GST is looking forth to greater tax compliance. And why is this so? Because there is tracking of every transaction due to the GSTN number. There is greater synergy between direct tax and indirect tax department due to common PAN card. Now there is less incentives and less exemptions, so it's easier now. The entire tax structure will be easier now. There is expansion of tax base, and the tax procedure has been made easy. And an example of this ease is, for example, from now on, small scale industries with goods beyond rupees 1.5 crore annual turnover will have to deal with state governments only, and small service providers with turnover up to rupees 10 lakh will have to deal with center only. So now they are protected from dealing with both central and state indirect tax departments. So that is how it has become easier for them. This is it for 12th October 2016. Thank you.